Hello and welcome to the Tuesday, November 26th, 2019 edition of Tesla Daily, unofficial Tesla podcast. My name is Rob Maurer. Today we're talking a little bit more about the Cybertruck, of course, but we do have a handful of other news stories as well. Tesla stock on the day today did finish down 2.2% to $328.92. That compared to the Nasdaq up 0.2%. Tesla did receive an analyst downgrade on the day today from China Renaissance, who changed their rating from buy to hold with an unchanged price target of $346 per share. The main reasons cited for that downgrade were the increase that we've seen in Tesla's valuation over the last couple of months, as well as the polarizing design of the Cybertruck. We did get an update earlier tonight from Elon on Twitter that Tesla now has 250,000 order deposits for the Cybertruck. That's an increase by 50,000 since our last update, which was 49 hours from this update, so averaging just over 1,000 order deposits per hour. Elon has given us those order deposit numbers 4 times, so we have 4 intervals that we can look at that order rate for. The first was the 42-hour period following the unveiling, in which 146,000 order deposits were made. That's a rate of about 3,400 per hour. We then got the 187,000 order deposit update about 24 hours later. That was a rate of just about 1,800 per hour, so a pretty steep decline. But then things actually accelerated. We got the next update about 6 hours later at 200,000. That was about 2,100 per hour. Sunday afternoon, apparently a pretty good time to put an order deposit in. And then finally today, we have the update for 250,000, which again was about 1,000 per hour. So a pretty steep decline from the previous interval rates that we had seen. From here, I don't expect us to get that many more updates. Maybe one more when we get to 300,000. I would expect that to happen maybe towards the end of this week, maybe Saturday, if we drop to, let's say, 500 per hour. But I'll be surprised to see more than 1 or 2 more of those. The other thing on Cybertruck that I want to run through quickly today is a comparison between the 2022 Cybertruck Tri-Motor and the 2012 Model S Performance. I think this is a great demonstration of how much incredible progress Tesla has and will make in 10 years' time. Now, there's a lot of data here. It might be a little bit difficult to follow with audio, so if that is the case, I did tweet out a text version of this earlier today at Tesla Podcast. So comparing all the specs from the Cybertruck versus the original Performance Model S, the Cybertruck Tri-Motor will be $69,900 versus the original Model S at $92,400. So the Cybertruck is 24% cheaper. If you factor in inflation, the price of that Model S actually increases to over $100,000. So then you're looking at about a 33% cheaper price on the Cybertruck versus that original Performance Model S. So with that 33% cheaper price, you're getting a vehicle that has a less than 2.9 second 0 to 60 versus a 4.4 second 0 to 60, a 10.8 second quarter mile versus a 12.6 second quarter mile, 500 plus miles of range versus 265. So you're getting way more range for much less cost. You're getting 7.2 miles of range for every $1,000 spent on the Cybertruck versus just 2.9 miles of range for every $1,000 spent on the Performance Model S. So a huge disparity there. The Cybertruck also has capability for 250 kilowatt supercharging versus 120 kilowatt supercharging on the Performance Model S. And obviously, there's a huge size difference. You're talking 100 cubic feet of storage on the truck versus 26 for the Model S. Seating for 6 adults on the truck versus 5 for the Model S. All-wheel drive on the truck versus rear-wheel drive on the Model S. And then, of course, full self-driving hardware, which is a huge one, versus no autopilot, no full self-driving hardware on that 2012 Model S. So in just 10 years' time, Tesla's able to offer a vehicle that's about 33% cheaper, has 34% quicker acceleration from 0 to 60, 14% quicker in the quarter mile. It has 89% more range and 150% more range per dollar spent, 108% peak higher charging rate, 280% more storage, 1 more seat, all-wheel drive, and full self-driving hardware and eventual autonomous capability. That is an absolutely insane amount of progress to make in 10 years' time, and that's one of the reasons I'm so excited for the Cybertruck. It's really an incredibly compelling vehicle. 10 years ago, nobody was thinking about the possibility of a 6-seat, 500-plus mile range, autonomous pickup truck that is as quick as a Porsche for $70,000. That's absolutely insane. The most exciting part about all that is that Tesla is still just getting started. Who knows what we're going to have in 2030 or 2032? It's a perfect example of one of my favorite quotes that I've used on the podcast a few times in the past, and that is that most people overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year's time, but underestimate what can be accomplished in a decade. I think 2020 is going to be a good decade. Last thing today on Cybertruck, I'm sure many of you have seen the story by now, but there's been just sort of a little bit of a tussle here between Ford and Tesla regarding Tesla's video of the Cybertruck pulling a Ford F-150 uphill. As most Tesla drama does these days, it all happened on Twitter. So the first piece of it was Neil deGrasse Tyson, astrophysicist, making some suggestions about how the demo that Tesla showed could have been more fair for both vehicles, which led to Elon saying that they would redo the test with both vehicles fully loaded. So that was one angle, and then another angle is this VP at Ford, Sunny Madra, at Sundeep, tweeted, quote, "Hey Elon Musk, send us a Cybertruck, and we will do the apples-to-apples tests for you," end quote. Elon retweeted that, saying, quote, "Bring it on," end quote. So then pretty humorously from that point, higher-ups at Ford got involved, and they made a statement to Fox saying, quote, "Sunny's tweet was tongue-in-cheek to point out the absurdity of Tesla's video, nothing more," end quote. So at this point, it seems like Elon will have to do this test again on his own without Ford's involvement. Shocking, right? I guess the funniest part about all this, though, is that VP still has that tweet as his pinned tweet on Twitter. So it's at the top of his timeline. He's not backing down, despite intervention from other people at Ford. I think that wraps up the Cybertruck news. Next today, just a quick update on a story that we covered a week or two ago from the Norwegian publication Dinside. As a reminder, the Tesla Model 3 had won the Reader's Choice Car of the Year from that publication by an astounding percentage. I think they had 32% of the vote versus 8% or so for second place. Anyway, I said that we'd have a follow-up to that story when we heard about the actual juror's choice from that publication, and today we have that. Unsurprisingly, the Model 3 also won the juror's selection for Car of the Year from Dinside. Of the 8 jurors, all 8 had the Model 3 in their top 3 vehicles, and 6 of the 8 had it as number 1. Of the Model 3, they had to say, in this translation, quote, "Tesla has simply come up with a gift package for Norwegians. It has the longest range in the class, fastest charging capacity, its own large and inexpensive charging network, both 2- and 4-wheel drive, extreme performance compared to what we are used to, the interior space many can live with, both in the compartment and in the trunk, as well as useful and useless but fun innovations we haven't seen in cars before. And all this can be achieved at a price many can reach. During the test day, it turns out that Model 3 is not only fun on the road, but very competent in the tests and fun on the track," end quote. So congrats to Tesla for that award. Lastly today, I want to talk about some comments that were made by a vice president and general manager of Toyota North America, Jack Hollis, at the LA Auto Show to Electrek. Thought they did a nice job with this interview, asking some tough questions specifically on electric vehicles, and his answers were pretty surprising to see. He was talking about sort of the development that they have of different powertrains, from fuel cell to hybrid to battery electric to internal combustion engine vehicles. And he said, quote, "All of these are part of the plan, but doing them in order of the consumer demand. And when you look at it, the demand for electric is less than it is on a hybrid. We are continuously working on EV entries, but right now, there is no demand for that," end quote. So this is just one VP at Toyota. This doesn't necessarily represent their entire company's standpoint, but we really haven't seen much from Toyota on electric vehicles, so it wouldn't surprise me if this train of thought runs deep throughout the entire company. So pretty tone-deaf comment to make, especially in Los Angeles, where pretty much anywhere you go, you see a Tesla. He even doubled and tripled down on this idea, saying, quote, "I don't think there's any proof in the marketplace that there's a demand for EVs. Every company has to make that decision," end quote. Electrek pushed back, saying, quote, "Your point is to move where there's demand. I'm not saying consumer demand for fuel cells, but you're fully behind that. There's more demand for pure electric cars," end quote. To which he says, quote, "How do you know there's more demand for electric than fuel cells? It's like hybrid when we started. There was the logic behind what a customer needs and how customers use vehicles. Would a person rather have to charge for 3 hours or fuel the vehicle in 5 minutes?" End quote. Wow, that is just an appallingly bad argument. First of all, there are no hydrogen fueling stations pretty much anywhere outside of California, so good luck with a 5-minute refuel on that. And then second of all, 3 hours to charge an electric vehicle? Is this guy still like stuck in 2007 or something? That has definitely not been the case since the supercharger network has existed, which has been a while. So I guess we can lump these comments in with the comments that we heard from Honda a week or two ago, and we can say best of luck, Toyota. That's where we'll close it out for today. As always, thank you for listening. I'd also encourage you to follow me on Twitter at Tesla Podcast. If you have questions or feedback, you can send those to me at tesladailypodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to support the podcast, you can learn more about doing that at patreon.com/tesladailypodcast. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for the Wednesday, November 27th episode of Tesla Daily. Thank you.